On Air with the Joe, College Top 40. In case you haven't noticed, Drake is charged up right now, like way, way, way up. So Drake's 6th annual OVO Fest has kicked off this weekend, and Kevin Hart actually started it off with a stand-up comedy bit, which we haven't really seen Kevin Hart do much stand-up comedy lately, but it's because he's been in like every single movie. Like he's had like, I think 4 movies in 2015, 7 in 2014. He's been absolutely killing it. So for Kevin Hart to be there to kick off the OVO Fest for Drake is incredible alone. But to think about that this is like the perfect time for this to happen, because Drake has been killing it as far as Twitter beef goes with this Meek Mill situation. So in case you didn't know, last week of July, Meek Mill started a Twitter beef with Drake saying that Drake doesn't write his own raps, and that's the reason why he didn't tweet out the link to Meek's new album, Dreams Worth More Than Money, because Drake didn't write his verse that was on the song Rico on Meek Mill's album, and they found out about it, and Drake was embarrassed about it, and so that's why he didn't tweet the album link. I think that's a bunch of bullcrap, to be honest, because Drake doesn't need the album sales for Meek to work out well for his verse that he did. But that's what happened. So Meek Mill started that beef, tweeted and tweeted and tweeted, and Drake didn't respond on Twitter at all. He responded a couple days later with a song as a diss track, and we haven't really seen a big diss track situation since like Nas and Jay-Z, since like Tupac and Biggie. So it's been a big deal on Twitter. Drake dropped a diss track, and then he followed it up with a second one called Back to Back with an added insult to injury in it. And it's interesting because Drake and Nicki Minaj are signed currently right now, and until the Cash Money situation ends up being dilapidated, really, they're signed to the same label. And Nicki Minaj right now is on her Pink Print World Tour, and Meek Mill is headlining opening for that tour. And so it's kind of crazy that Meek would go start a situation with somebody that his girlfriend works with, you know? So he goes and starts this situation, and Drake has absolutely slaughtered him when it comes down to beef situation. And I think this is the first time we've actually talked about the situation on air with the Joe, but this has been going on for like a couple weeks now. He dropped 2 tracks, and the second one was entitled Back to Back, and the cover photo of it, I thought this was so clever. The cover photo for that track was when Toronto Blue Jays beat the Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series, and the song title was entitled Back to Back. And there was a specific line in that song I thought was so cool, because he said, "Is that your world tour or your girls tour?" And Meek really has not had the greatest year as far as rap career goes. But anyway, it's just perfect timing for Drake because he's just on a ride right now, absolutely on a ride. But the OVO Fest has kicked off. It kicked off August 1st. There was last night, J. Cole was headlining the fest, which happened last night. And tonight, August 3rd, is said that Drake and Friends will close out tonight. And his guest list is expected to be lit as always. Last year, 50 Cent and G-Unit performed, and the crowd was so loud it was deafening last year when 50 Cent and G-Unit took the stage on the last night. And Kanye actually made an appearance in Kanye fashion. He comes out on the stage and says, "Stop the music, stop the music." And he basically expressed his love and admiration for Drake's music and what Drake is doing. And Drake was just taken aback by it last year at the OVO Fest. And he hasn't said who's supposed to make an appearance, but also last year he brought out PartyNextDoor and Majid Jordan and Trey Songz, Tinashe, Usher and DJ Khaled. YG was another one that came out there. And he said Trey Songz was his first famous American friend. And he talked about, you know, the work that him and Trey Songz had worked over the past and everything. And it's expected to be just as lit. And I'm sure tomorrow on Air with the Joe we'll end up talking about it. But Drake is the man, not to mention he's got Views from the Six, his album, coming out very, very soon. So we're going to be covering that. That's an entertainment update. That story came from mtbnews.com if you want to go get the whole scoop. But thanks for listening to On Air with the Joe. Keep your radios locked into On Air with the Joe only on College Top 40.